we're gonna actually do ammo testing, and this isn't exactly precision rifle. That's what I do more of, but I like things quiet. So I really like running subsonics. I like suppressors. We've got a 9mm in an AR platform. A lot of people end up running like, you know, a 10.5 barrel or something like that, and you got a bee flying around you. So just hold still. They're more afraid of you than you are of them. So,
Doesn't
but
feel like
anyways,
it. Does not feel like it.
So the thing is I've got a 16-inch barrel. Quick story about that. I didn't want to SBR it, but I wanted to be able to put a buttstock on it, so legally it has to be a 16-inch barrel. Well, one thing you run into there is you run into the longer the barrel is, the more you're going to increase velocity, which means you may take some subsonic ammunition that's running, you know, supposedly 1,000, 1050, and it will push it over that 1125 threshold, which is going to push you into supersonic, which means you're going to start getting a little bit of that supersonic crack, which it makes it a lot louder. I've got 11 different types of ammo here, subsonic ammo, and we're going to just kind of test it out real quick. We got the chronograph set up, and we're going to see how it sounds to the ear. We're going to check the velocity so we know for a fact if it is going supersonic or subsonic or right on that line. And we're just going to see what it does out of a 16-inch barrel. If we have some real weird stuff, we're not so much going for accuracy, because I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on it. If I see some weird stuff going on up there, I'll check it. But, you know, we're looking for hang-ups, anything like that, of course. But the main thing we want to do is just see what kind of velocities we're going to be pushing out of this. I've got the R9 Yankee Hills Can, and it's a 16-inch Ballistic Advantage barrel. And so it's an Odin Works Spikes tactical build. And like I say, so we're just gonna do some shooting here. Gonna probably just take 3 rounds of each, or it's gonna take forever to get through this. We're actually gonna start off with, I've just got some MagTech 115 grain, you know, standard ammunition, just to get a baseline as far as the velocity and how it's gonna sound for something that's definitely gonna be running over into the supersonic. Oh yeah, that's 1336. That's kind of cool. Really wasn't too bad. It was only a 25 foot per second extreme spread, but you're looking at average of 1347 with your standard 115 grains that I want to say testing out of a 4-inch barrel. I think those are supposed to be running somewhere in the neighborhood of like 12. So we're looking at right at 150 feet per second speed up. So that's going to kind of give us a baseline. And so we're going to expect these things to speed up a little bit. So the first one we've got going is the Federal American Eagle 147 grain. And velocity at the muzzle, it doesn't tell me barrel length, but is 1,000 feet per second. So we're going to try that more than likely. So I'm going to expect 1150. So this is probably going to be going supersonic if this all stays kind of the same. So shoot that. Yep, 1140. 1158. I do believe that was quieter, just in my opinion, what I heard, than the 115 grain. But I mean, you're looking at almost exactly 200 feet per second slower. So it's a lot closer to subsonic. So we're just going to go right on into, this is the Blazer. Blazer brass ammunition. This is the 147 grain full metal jacket. And tell you the truth, I can't remember what it was supposed to be. I want to say it's somewhere around the 1,000 feet per second. I honestly didn't do my homework beforehand and remember all this. So we're going to hit it. We're going to see.
You might want to set that cup down.
I need to move that, don't I?
Yeah. It's going to mess with the sound.
Yeah. First it sounded cool, but Okay, so that's 1160. 1180. 1170. So, like I say, I want to say that was supposed to be around 1,000 feet per second. I want to say this, moving on, we're going to be moving to the Speer 147 grain total metal jacket. And I want to say this was supposed to be around 1,000 feet per second as well. So, like I say, I'm not expecting it to be, well, that mag's a little taller, so I'll throw this bag on there. I'm expecting these that are around 1,000 feet per second to be, you know, just over that, you know, into the, I'm losing my word in here, supersonic. Let's see. That was definitely a little louder. Yeah, that's 60. $11.70. 1166. That was actually the Speer was actually pretty tight far as groups. I mean, excuse me, far as velocity goes, which I know that's not a big deal in you know, handgun ammunition for the most part. But out of that, all three of those 147s, they all ran extremely close to the same velocity, and they all sounded very similar. I want to say, even though the velocity wasn't higher on these, for some reason, just to my ear, it sounded like the Speer, the Lawman, they just seem to be a little louder. I don't know why, but they just seem to be a little louder to me. So, but that's just my opinion, being the shooter right here behind the rifle. So we're gonna move these to the side, and I'm gonna load up some more, and we're gonna test them. Actually, I'll move them over here. Now we're gonna be testing some of the Sellier Bellot. This is the 140 grain full metal jacket, Subsonic. So, and I want to say they're supposed to be 1,000 feet per second. So I'm not expecting these to fall in under. So we'll see. That sounded a lot better. That was 964, so yeah, that's definitely subsonic. Sounded a little louder. 959. Sounded really good though. $9.45. So those are definitely subsonic. Sounds a whole lot better. You can hear it just smacking the berm up there. And I would definitely shoot that or call that subsonic for sure. So I'm going to set that to the side. Very pleased with that. And now I say on the website, because I actually do remember this, is they say that these 140s are going 1,000 feet per second, which looks like it's averaging right at, you know, 950. So that is actually slower than what they're saying, which in this case you want subsonics. That's actually not a bad thing. So what we're going to move on to next is the Sellier Bellot subsonics, but in the 150 grain. So we're going to give that a shot here and see how that does. Okay. 939. 920. 934. That really wasn't bad as far as the groups. Definitely subsonic. Definitely did a good job. I feel like there was maybe a little more recoil with the 150s, and so therefore I don't think you're actually gaining anything out of either one, especially if subsonic is your main concern. So I like it. They cycled very well. They sounded very good. At first, I think the first round out of the 150s almost sounded a little loud, even though they are subsonic. I'm just going by what I'm hearing. You may hear something totally different on the camera. But either way, so what we're going to do, we're going to just keep moving. This is the Remington 147 grain, and they are supposed to be 945 is what the box says. So we're gonna try that out. And the berm is 100 yards away, so I don't know if I mentioned that or not. So 1051. 1032. 1030. That didn't sound bad. That's subsonic. So that sounded very good. I would be happy with that. I almost feel like the Sellier Bellot was quieter, but that might just be, at this point, I might be just wanting to lean one way or the other. So I'll move on, and this is, I don't know why they put a sticker, probably had to rebox it. But this is the Armscore 147 grain full metal jacket. And I want to say they, on their website, this is my bad, I didn't keep up with which one did what, but I want to say it was right at 1,975, something like that. So, which may push it over that threshold. So we're about to see. $10.70. $10.60. $10.75. So not bad. It's running subsonic, barely. It's staying under that 1100. There's a little bit of, I can hear it going down range a little bit. It's starting to get into that, almost that transonic stage. So I think it's decent. In handguns, you probably will have zero issues, or a 10.5 or something like that. But out of a 16-inch barrel, it is just starting to get a little louder. So not bad though. Definitely better than some of the others. So we're gonna load up these 4 more mags and the last ones we got. All right, so we're gonna jump into this. These are kind of cool. I wouldn't shoot them for the longest time because I'm weird. And I'm like, no, I don't want a synthetic jacket. That's stupid. But if you can see it, I believe it's red. I'm colorblind, so, but it's a red synthetic jacket. And what that is the Federal Syntech action pistol. Okay, 150 grain. And these are, well, yeah, they are supposed to be running 890. So I'm going to expect, subsonic out of these, and we're gonna see how they do. I have shot them before and they did sound good, and they actually shot really well. So I almost wanted to give them crap when they first came out, like I'm not shooting synthetic jacket bullets, but well, so far I've seen no issues out of the can and everything. I just wanted to put that in there because I know when I'm wrong, okay? I'm willing to admit it. So alright, I'll shut up now. $10.52. $10.53. $10.43. So yeah, those sounded really good. They were, under the threshold. I would call those subsonic out of a 16-inch barrel. I like them. The recoil actually was not bad. I didn't feel like I got a lot of recoil. Sometimes you get it higher grain, it does seem to give you a little recoil. But we're gonna move on to the the Fiocchi, I'm Southern, I can't pronounce things right anyway, so I call it Fiocchi. And it is the 147 grain full metal jackets, and they are on the box 975 is what they're rated at. So $953, $938, $934. So they're going a little slower than what they say on the box. It's definitely subsonic. It doesn't sound bad at all. Excuse me. I felt like it just did feel a little weird, almost like it had a little extra recoil. But I mean, nothing's bad, of course. But all right, moving on. The Fiocchi 158 grain, and they are supposed to be 850 feet per second. So I'm real interested in shooting these. I haven't shot these before, so we'll see how everything works out there. Maybe I'll see if it shoots a little lower. $912, $940, and $957. I'll say the accuracy where I was hitting was it did look like the groups were a little larger on that one. I could do some more testing, but seemed relatively quiet. I like them, but the accuracy was not super happy with. But either way, so definitely subsonic out of a 16-inch barrel, definitely good. These are the Aguila and the 147 grain, and that's gonna finish us up here. So I do not remember what the velocities are supposed to be on this one, so we're all just gonna get to be surprised at the same time. $10.21, $10.23, $10.24. Definitely not bad. So I actually started off with the ones that were the loudest. That was not on purpose. That was I just randomly grabbed them all up. So the thing is, out of all of these are all going to be subsonic, with, I don't want to say the exception. This one's still subsonic, but you can tell it was starting to get at that like 1070. It was starting to get up there, getting very close to that transonic stage, and so you could just hear just a little bit. But like I say, you go down to a 12.5 or a 10.5 barrel, and I would say you would probably have zero issues with it being, staying subsonic. Now, these right here, however, and they are not going to be subsonic out of a what do you call it? A 16-inch barrel. Now, of course, the 115s aren't. Those were relatively fast. Now, this is not a diss towards any ammunition. Once again, all these, for the most part, 90% of people shooting 9mm ammunition is going to be shooting it out of a handgun. So therefore, these are going to be tested in something like a Glock 19, Glock 17, somewhere between a 4 and a 5-inch barrel. That's where they're going to be tested. So this is definitely not a diss on any of these. But if you want subsonic out of a 16-inch barrel, just from the 11 that we've tested here, these are going to put you over that, into that supersonic stage, and you can hear it. So nothing wrong with these. I'm sure if you put them in a handgun, they're probably going to do fine. But out of a 16-inch barrel, not so much. Tell me what you think, what you heard from the camera's point of view. You know, if you liked one over the other, if you saw more recoil. Speaking of the camera, you know, what'd you think, Caitlin? Did you hear any more, any less sound, one over the other?
No, when you were giving your feedback, it was pretty much what was going through my head too, is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
What would you say? I'm like 4 feet from you, probably.
Yeah, you're about 4
or where I
feet.
was when you were shooting. I've moved forward a little bit, but yeah, I was gonna agree with you on the ones being louder and some being definitely quieter, and you could hear the whack on the berm versus the crack. So yeah, I would agree.
Okay. Catch you on the flip side.
I'm so leaving that in.
No, you're not. So definitely comment. My wife makes me say that, so I'm saying it like 5 times here. And so either way, I'm going to shut up and end this video. So thank you for watching.